Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
I see y'all there vibing, Montel. I seen the vibes, bro. You know what I'm saying? I seen the vibes, man. Welcome back. Hold on, let me go ahead and unmute you for a second. I had to take everybody. Oh yeah, I think we're good now. All right, boom. There we go. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Die Podcast. Post game recap. Washington and Philadelphia just ended. Honestly, what I thought was a goddamn incredible game. Regardless of result, but obviously we are here to talk about the good guys. Good guys lost today. 34-31 on the road at the Link against the Philadelphia Eagles. Before we even get into it and dive into it, fellas, man, Dre in here, AJ's in here, Hefe, aka Low Dog, aka Montel in here, man. Fellas, how y'all doing today, bro? Y'all all right?
No.
I guess I should ask only if after a win or something, huh? But nah, you was really going through it. You told me you tell the people how you was feeling, because this is one of those games where like when you lock in and like you see like how good they're competing. Montel was like, I don't care if they playing good. I want the dub. Like he was out for blood.
Ain't no moral victories for me, man. Like once I seen that they was competing like that, I literally I bought in and I texted him all fourth quarter, especially after Sam threw that touchdown. I said, I want this one bad because I hate Philly. I tell everybody. I think I'm starting to hate Philly more than I hate the Cowboys. Their fans are obnoxious. Like, I haven't seen my team get a ring, and I'm going to just be 100% honest. Philly fans, y'all got one ring, dog. Like, y'all talk down on us, too. And I get it. We ain't been good, but we are throwing in y'all side on the low, man. And we always compete against Philly. Philly never, they don't blow us out for real, man, for real. And I wanted this one so bad just to talk trash, man. I might have stayed on Twitter for an extra day.
Hey, you can still talk your shit. Hey, the game went to overtime, Montel. We can still talk a little bit of shit because the Eagles didn't expect us to even be playing with them like that. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted the dub, Dre.
Me too. I wanted the dub too, man.
I get it, man. Jay Tyler, appreciate you checking in. As always, everybody just tap and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're on the live side, if you are listening on the audio, man, always give us a rating and review if you have opportunity to do so. Show your support, man, and it's free, so we appreciate that. All right, so Montel, man, you haven't been on the post game this season, so we got our little thing with the one sentence takeaways. Fellas, who's gonna kick it off this week? What's our one sentence takeaway from today's game?
I'll go ahead. Very encouraging, man. Because after last week, I was very discouraged against the Bills. You know, losing 37-3. I didn't expect to come out against the Eagles and, you know, at least put up this type of fight, man. I at least just wanted to keep this close and competitive. But this was a game, like Montel said, we could have went out there and won, man. So, you know, I hate right now. Yes, I am mad that we lost the game. You know, I'm probably going to be pissed off at least until tomorrow. But at least going forward, I feel a little bit encouraged, man, because there was some good things in this game.
I guess I'll go next. I'll say, you know, how do I want to phrase this? Because I don't want with their backs against the wall, Bieniemy and how really came through for the team. I saw this post from Mark Bullock, a friend of the show. He said it a little bit better than me. I just didn't want to steal his, but he had mentioned, where was it? I'm gonna miss his quote because I got a lot of notifications. He had said when Howe plays within rhythm of the offense, this offense is efficient. Like it proves to be efficient or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Here it goes. When Howe is efficient, the offense works. So basically, alluding to the fact that the scheme and what the enemy wants to get done. Like it works if you work it, essentially. And I think with Washington in this game, if you all remember last week and even in the pregame leading up, I thought that, and I reiterate, I said they had a better chance against Philadelphia than they did against Buffalo. And for Washington, in order for them to win, they would have had to win a shootout. I understood where Washington was in terms of like how they matched up defensively. They was going to have some problems against a very good offense in Philadelphia. But it was like, how is this offense of Washington is going to be able to keep up and give that defense a chance to make plays? And it wasn't perfect on the defense side of the football. We're going to tap into that. But I think for my one sentence takeaway, understanding where that offense
your one sentence takeaway, boy, you've been long ass running paragraph.
I did make my sentence. Are we paying attention here? What's up, bro?
I thought you were supposed to just say your sentence and then we move
AJ
on.
doesn't want us to.
I'm about to say AJ's very very literal. He says one sentence and then we just move on.
Yeah,
but
no elaboration.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth for the first 4 games of the season. But anyway, with that being said, man, I think with the way the offense played, man, they gave this team a shot. But you know, like if it works if you work it, and we need to kind of see more consistency on both the enemy's part and Howell's part, because clearly when you go up against some top dogs like the Eagles and other teams in the NFC that's very powerful in terms of like their offensive performance, you're going to have to give this defense some help.
Yeah, I think my headline, I'd probably go with something simple, and it would probably be, "What's up, Jack?" And
oh no, don't worry. You ain't gotta say don't worry. No need to elaborate.
Nah.
Go ahead, hey, Montel. You got the flow. You got the flow, bro.
Let me run a little bit with this motherfucker. You feel me? But
go ahead though.
Yeah,
you got it. Go ahead.
What's up, Jack? I'm not really liking this defense. Like, I'm not liking the game plan. I'm not liking the scheme. I'm not liking putting Forbes on an island, and you know that they're attacking him. The reason why you brought him in is to be a ball hawk, and you're leaving him out there to die against top wide receivers in this league. And Brian Johnson, the OC for the Philadelphia Eagles, hey, kudos to you. You took advantage of that all day. You connected it all game. You literally hit Forbes with comeback routes. You hit him with a bubble screen that him and Crow bit down on. You gave him everything thinking that it was going to be short and to eventually go deep, and you won.
Montel, what you thinking?
Man, it was so much to take away from this game today, but my one sentence takeaway, because you could go positive or negative, because I really didn't anticipate us winning today, but once the game started, I was like, okay, we in it, we could win it. But my one sentence takeaway is kind of on par with AJ, and it's the defense is letting us down. And you drafted a corner in the first round and the second round, and the reason for doing so was to see them make plays. This defense doesn't make plays, dog. Like, offense scored 31 points. If you make one play, we win. And we've invested so much into this defense, young, and it's like 4 first-round picks along the defensive line. And I seen this on Twitter earlier. I wish they would stop announcing that shit every game. Like, stop, because every time they do that, we don't do nothing. Like, for real. It seems like every time they talk about they got 4 first-rounders on the front 4, we get 1 sack. And I'm like, dude, stop doing that. But this defense is incapable of making a play. I said it going into overtime when Terry McLaurin's toenail fell out of bounds. I said, defense, you got to make a play. You just got to make a play. Like, y'all haven't made a play all game. Just make a play, and you begging for them to do it.
But Montel, why do they call that man Riverboat Ron? If you're not going to take an opportunity to win the game when you have all the momentum in the world. After overtime, I'd rather them had lost like that versus going into overtime.
Y'all killed him when he did that against the Giants a couple years ago.
I was gonna say, I don't blame.
I wanted to go for two too. I did want to go for
that.
two.
Yeah, but I think that Giants game was at like the end of the year or something, right?
No, that was mid-season.
We talking about last year, right? With the
I'm trying to remember.
I think it was 2020.
I know what you're talking
the Haskins year when he went for two, but they didn't get it. I think they ended up losing that game. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying he got killed for it before. However, I'm with AJ. I would have went for two, but I understand why he didn't.
I was comfortable going into OT
because I mean, here
you muted, AJ.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
The field goal or the extra point isn't even a guarantee, so you might as well go for it. With your long snapper situation, you might as well have went for it. Like I don't know what the
but all that said, they had a chance that they got the ball first and
they got the ball first.
So you know what I'm saying? They still had their chance.
They had the ball first, and on top of that, they forced a third down. I think 2 third downs in a fourth down situation on defense. Like when they ended up punting the ball, like there was opportunities, bro. And I think that's if we want to like morph this conversation to other instances, we're gonna circle back to some defensive things like in particular. But now this is a good point as well in terms of like the last punt out of all the punts.
Somebody said it.
The last punt that Trustway had was one of the worst ones of the day, and honestly probably one of the worst ones of Trust's season. So it's just terrible timing. Yeah, it's like such terrible timing in a moment where they were playing. They were honestly just playing. They were playing good ball. I do think when you think about the opportunities that were actually reverse. Let's start with let's go from top to bottom, like how they even came out the game, came out the gates, right? You end up getting a 10-point lead. And even that drive where Washington or Philadelphia finds a way to get a field goal at the end, you're thinking, at the end of the first half, like that shouldn't have happened, right? You should be going into the game with, going into the second half with a 10-point lead. Ultimately, there's like a 11-point swing or maybe 14-point swing for Philadelphia. After that field goal drive going into the second half, I think Washington, honestly, when you look at even from the offensive side of the standpoint, you're up there from kickoff, up there competing against these guys. I don't know, like there was moments where you look at the protection and you're trying to figure out what's going on with these guys, right? I think Andrew Wiley has some issues. Sam Cosmi obviously has some issues. There was some whiffs in terms of blocks missed. But overall, I really think that when you look at the offensive job that they did to really even put themselves in this position to have the opportunities to win this game, I think that you can't really, on this side of the football, there wasn't really moments where you're like this is why we lost. Now, I will say there's two moments in particular that I'm going to be thinking about, right? Like there was a deep shot to Terry McLaurin that was a bad throw from Sam Howell. And then there was a post. It was a post ball. Another post with De'Ami Brown where it was another bad ball. But those were the two main ones where I look at this offense. And I say if there was anything that I can really look at this team and on that unit and say like this is what I wish we could have connected on, it would be those two. But yeah, outside of that, it was strong from Bieniemy to even the offensive line and Brian Robinson, who we finally got involved. How many targets did Terry have? Like he had 4 or 5 catches in the first half. And made some big plays in the second half. Jahan Dotson had one bad drop too. That's another one. Like we talk about the bad balls. Jahan Dotson had a bad drop over the middle that I'm thinking about as well because it extends the drive, and I think it is a position where we have a chance to take the lead, if I remember right.
Well, Eagles ended up scoring on the drive right after that drop. So
yeah, so offensively, like there's probably like 3 big moments where I'm looking at it and I'm saying like, damn, like that sucks, and that's clearly you wish you had a better or a second chance or a mulligan. But I love how they responded after that 34-point beatdown against the Bills on that side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think the offense played great, especially going against the front that they had to go against. In a Sweat, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. Like they really kind of Hassan Reddick. They did a damn good job. Like Eric Bieniemy came out, firing. Like he called an amazing game. The game plan was perfect. Overall, I think Brian Robinson probably had about maybe 12 carries or so. I don't know about y'all, but every time I seen Antonio Gibson,
14 for 45.
Okay, every time I seen Antonio Gibson with a carry, I kind of like low key started on myself. I mean, but that's the issue. Like he is the complimentary back to Brian Robinson, so he got to play. He got to get some touches, but they need to call somebody that's sitting at home or something and bring them in to supplement that, or maybe try to bring in a Cordell Patterson. I don't know, bro. But I'm not comfortable with Antonio Gibson getting any type of carry at all. Yeah, I mean, offensively, they played their ass off. Sam Howell did a great job today in taking what was there. He didn't try to force things. He still locked in on some guys, but he took what was there. The enemy did a better job of giving him those one reads to kind of play into. And if he didn't see those things, he kind of got out of there and tried to make a play. Yeah, I really didn't have a problem with the offensive side of the ball. I think for me, man, just being a Washington football fan in general, I don't know the last time I've ever seen this team, whether it be under Ron Rivera, Shanahan, Gruden, play a complete game where they were dominant on both the offensive side of the ball and defensively. And it's growing frustrating for me because you see other organizations do it, and I have yet to see that happen. And today the defense really let the offense down. Like we keep trying to make it seem like this defense is elite. By no means is this defense elite. They have nobody to necessarily make plays, and too many times Jack Del Rio is too dependent on the front four to get home, and it's just not. It's not going to work long term. You got a linebacker in Barton who you essentially playing with 10 men on defense. Like he serves no purpose in my opinion. Yeah, and just how Jack Del Rio just left.
Well, hold on.
Not on that, or we just focusing on offense.
I was gonna say we're gonna get we got a show. We're gonna get to the defense, bro. Like it ain't going nowhere. We got a discussion to talk about these boys, bro. Like it was several people who had some issues on that side of the ball. We gonna get there.
AJ was trying to speed you up on that one sentence, bro. He was like,
hey, he's trying to talk about Jack.
I thought we were just talking about the overall game now after we done got through Mual's soliloquy.
Hey man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I ain't heard Dre or Montel talk about that offense yet. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, go ahead, Dre or Montel, whoever want to take the stab at it. Eight catches for 86 yards for Terry. By the way, I think he had 4 or 5 catches in the first half, and should have had 100 yards if they gave him that goddamn overtime catch. But go ahead, y'all got it.
No, I mean, like I told y'all in the text, I thought this was Eric Bieniemy's best game by far that he's called. I mean, I didn't walk away from this game feeling like, oh, he abandoned the run or he never really tried to get the run game involved. I thought he did a really good job this game of mixing it up both ways with the pass and the run, especially early on. It was a concerted effort to get Sam Howell, get the ball out of his hands quick. I mean, and that's an adjustment from what we've seen in the past couple of weeks. So, like I said, that's the Eric Bieniemy that we are kind of looking for. I mean, that's the one I want to see. I mean, his game plan was masterful today against the Eagles. We probably could have put up more points. We probably almost could have put up 40 today. But I mean, then Brian Robinson, man, I mean, he's a dog. First off, we got to get AJ to stop hating on that man more. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
He's a little pup.
AJ gonna do what he gonna do, bro. He just dead wrong.
He's not a dog. He's a little pup.
At some point, you got to get that man his props, AJ. I know you want somebody else up in here in that running back room, but I think Brian Robinson, man, like I said, you call on him. He's usually efficient when you call on him. And I mean, like I said, he came up big today. He had a couple of runs. I wish he would have got credited with the other touchdown, but it was the fumble. I love the.
Well, I was gonna go crazy if he did that to him.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm about to say I was gonna go crazy if he got in the end zone, bro. He did that shit to him.
He kept his motor running, man. He was running dudes over. I wanted him to get that score, but I mean, nonetheless, we got the score anyway. Also, another thing I love what Eric Bieniemy did in this game. I mean, it was concerted effort. I think as Mual mentioned, to get the playmakers involved in this game. I mean, Terry was getting a lot of targets. This is the game that I expected to see out of Terry at some point already in this season. And then Jahan Dotson, my boy, man. I mean, he had the drop, but he had the redemption as well. I mean, he also looked like he was involved in the game plan today, so to speak. I mean, he was covered some good times by Bradbury on the Eagles on some plays, but it was just a good. And then even Curtis Samuel had a lot of plays in this game, man. So, getting all three of those guys involved, I mean, these are your best players on offense. You have to get the ball in their hands. So, I mean, I loved it. I loved a lot about what we did on offense today. I mean, it's very encouraging going forward. It makes me feel like, man, Sam Howell, we might have something here. I'm almost ready to say it, because if we are to look at Sam Howell and, discover that maybe he is a franchise guy, I think that fourth quarter drive might be that turning point for him. I mean, that's the part where men start to grow into real quarterbacks, when they can make those fourth quarter drives under duress like he was, to put us in position to go to overtime. So, I mean, it was, like I said, a lot of encouraging things on offense. Obviously, we're going to talk about the defense in a few, but I mean, I love what we did offensively today.
So one thing, Montel, so the Dotson drop was a third down drop. They were up 17-13. Washington was. So that just for people that's listening and watching, they did have the opportunity to extend that drive, and obviously fortunes changed. And to add on the how part, like when you're down 24-17, bro, and he gets you on that scoring drive, like that whole drive was damn near all Sam. Like making plays with your legs, extending the pocket. Extending the play, finding your reads, like getting the ball out, like. That was, and obviously offensive line does the job, and Brian Robinson closes the drive out with his touchdown run. But like the way that they performed on this side of the ball against a defense with a front rush like the Philadelphia Eagles defense, like we can't undermine the points that they put up and the style in which they did it, and that's what is encouraging on that side of the ball moving forward. Like if you can do it against these guys, like what's the excuse moving forward? Go ahead, Montel.
And I think y'all both already touched on it. I think we seen the formula today. I mean, last week, I think they just dropped him back too many times and put him in situations where he could hold the ball. And I think the formula is get the ball out quick, at least right now, because he's not Pat Mahomes. Get the ball out quick.
Play actions, everything. Quick pass.
Yeah, and I came in ready to talk trash about Sam today, and he completely shut me up. And I'm okay with that. I told him, I said, look, I'm okay with being wrong about Sam Howell. If it means he's going to be good, I'm rooting for him. I'm legit rooting for the team. But if you're going to look bad, you got to go to the bench, bro, because as I mentioned last week, this team is good. Like, this team can play. But they got to put it all together, man. Like, you just competed with the Eagles, and last week you was in it with the Bills into the fourth quarter with terrible QB play. So I think that this team is good enough to compete, good enough to play with some top dogs. But like I said, I think we gotta be able to take some pressure off of Sam. And I think they did a good job of doing that today with the quick passes, with some of the screens, some of the draws, running the ball. And even if running the ball isn't getting you 5 yards a pop, you got to keep the defense honest. And I got to give Sam credit today because the run game wasn't very efficient today. Even though I love B-Rob just like y'all do, man. He is a dog. I don't care what AJ's talking about. If our O-line was the Detroit Lions or the Cowboys or anybody or the Eagles, I've had this in my notes too. DeAndre Swift is the perfect example of if you give me an O-line or you give me a good system, I can thrive. Like this O-line is, come on, we know it's makeshift. If B-Rob had the Eagles O-line, he'd be going off too, bro. But he doesn't. So that's another conversation. But like I said, I just think we've seen the formula today to kind of help Sam Howell out and keep this team in games. But your defense, this has been the problem year after year. They start off slow. But if they ever put it together this year, I'm hoping it's not a 2021 season. That's another point I wanted to touch on. I think people are afraid to give Chase Young a little bit of credit. He looks pretty good. You know what I mean? Is he 2020 Chase Young right now? No. I still see him he looks a little slow. a little bit.
He looked slow. Like after like when quarterbacks escape the pocket, you know, he running 2 miles an hour to chase him
he
down.
accelerates
I think his conditioning is just not there yet, but he'll probably kick in all the way in like a couple weeks.
He accelerate off the rock though. Like his initial burst is crazy, and his bull rush is crazy. Of course, he got to get a little bit more in his repertoire. But man, I think we'll be all right if the defense can step the side that you invested everything in. If they step up, I think we'll be okay. Like,
let's talk about him, bro. Let's talk about him. I want to start with the rookie, and then let's go ahead and expand out, man. Because I'm gonna say this on our show. First and foremost, bro, it's so crazy. Like the timeline was going crazy over Emmanuel Forbes, right? Obviously, there's people who continue to reference the Christian Gonzalez, Emmanuel Forbes decision on the draft day. And my thing is, for all of the grease that some of those same people are willing to extend to Sam Howell because he's only played 3 or 4 games in an NFL career. Like, why are we going so hard on Emmanuel Forbes for going up against AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and having a day where he's made, or excuse me, let me reverse that. They have made more plays than he could make against them in a situation like your 4th game, you're going against 2 elite receivers, and you're going to have some issues, right? But that's my thing. Like, you got baptized today. It is what it is. And I'm not saying that every single first-round cornerback is going to look like Emmanuel Forbes. I'm not that type of person that's going to sit here and dilute you. There's going to be some people who come out day one ready to play, and they're going to strap that shit. But at the same time, Emmanuel Forbes, like, everybody isn't that cornerback. And Emmanuel Forbes had a bad day. It is what it is. And I think for everybody who's on that criticism side of saying that he's some shit or he's ass or like the coaching staff made the wrong decision drafting him, I just think where they go wrong is like trying to write the book or close the book on a guy 4 games into his rookie season. Like that is the complete opposite of what y'all are doing to Sam Howell when he's having a bad game or he's looking terrible, bro. You don't do that to people, like especially if he had one bad game that was terrible against elite players.
That's because he's black.
Hey, Mual.
Let us see how he recovers, bro.
It's just racism. That's just what it is. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, AJ, for you, because Forbes, to Maul's point, Forbes reminds me of our cornerback, D'Angelo Hall. You know, the ball hawk type of guy. But I wanted to ask AJ because he probably remembered this better than I do. But D'Angelo Hall had a game early in his career with the Falcons where I can't remember which wide receiver had cooked them, and everyone said he was trash. You remember that, AJ? Who was that? Was it Terrell Owens?
It might have been either T.O. or Steve Smith.
Yeah, either way, I mean, he gave up maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns in the game alone. I mean, but that's what ball hawk guys would do. My question was throughout the game was, where was the safety? I noticed Derek Forrest is late a couple of times over there, and then a couple of times they had no safety help over the top. He's beating them on double moves. It was the same thing every time. But like AJ was saying, you got to protect your ball hawk corner, man. I mean, come on.
I agree. I agree 100%. You got. Oh wait, go ahead, AJ. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, I think the issue is a lot of fans don't understand football. So when you draft a corner or you draft certain positions, they just expect them to be, like in this case with Emmanuel Forbes, they expect him to be a shutdown corner. But he was never going to be that in his NFL career. He is a ball hawk corner. For me, myself, who has represented ball hawk corners in this league that are top 30 in NFL interceptions of all time in Asante Samuel and the D'Angelo Hall, they're going to give up plays. They're going to give up yards. They're going to be in these positions here and there. You feel me? But Jack Del Rio or whoever is going to be the defensive coordinator has to do a better job of helping them and protecting them in cases of where they can't be put on an island on a double move, for example, when you see that it's coming. You just know it's coming. And this was Emmanuel Forbes' welcome to the NFL game, his moment. You feel me? He went against Devontae Smith in college when it was Mississippi State versus Alabama. Devontae Smith cooked them in college. Oh, now he gets to go against A.J. Brown in the same game from Ole Miss. Still, it's a humbling experience. You feel me? Like, he hasn't been put in that situation necessarily to go against these top dogs. And I still think he didn't have as bad as a game as it could have been. He still made some plays. He still had some
almost had a
opportunities
pick.
out there.
He almost 2 or 3.
He looked bad.
Yeah,
Bro.
he
I don't
still
care what
had
y'all talking
opportunities
about.
out there. I just think that the fan base doesn't really understand football the best. Those that get it understand. I feel like Jack Del Rio is also letting them play maybe too much off man. So when you play a lot of off man, those OCs are gonna run the curls early in the game or early in downs to get you, and you're gonna get caught on, and then eventually you're gonna get hit with a double move. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I gave kudos to Brian Johnson, the Eagles offensive coordinator, because he dialed it up perfectly. In those situations where they scored late in the game with AJ Brown on the double move, you typically don't see that in that scenario. You normally see them do a different type of play, but they knew exactly what they had, and there was no safety help over the top. So it's like, of course, it's AJ Brown. We talk about one of the best wide receivers in the whole NFL. It's not like he got dogged by Diami Brown or Brian
Here's the
Pringle.
thing, though. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I gotta be real, bro. Because I'm real with every player, dog. I don't care who it is. I can like you. I'm real. You know? At the end of the day,
There's nothing wrong with criticizing Forbes, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This doesn't mean I'm
game.
quitting on guys. A lot of people think when you critique guys or when you keep it real about guys that, oh, you've given up on them. That's not the case, dog. I'm just being real. Emmanuel Forbes done got burnt up a few times this season. He got burnt up in Denver too. And somebody pointed this out, and I'll be listening to the radio sometimes in the morning, and I can't unsee it now. Slim said Emmanuel Forbes looks unathletic. And I'm like, you know what? He's not lying. Emmanuel Forbes ran a 4.3, and I don't see it. Emmanuel Forbes looked like he's always trailing behind the receiver by 5 yards, bro. And y'all can't tell me y'all don't see that, dog. And I get it. He's a gambling cornerback. I get it. It's going to take time. But Slim, you getting burnt up. He getting burnt up out there. And I know, and like I said, some people may not want to admit it. They want to give him time. Slim is getting smoked. Every time I look up, I'm like, I bet. If it's a big play, I'll be like, I bet that was Forbes. And I look back and I see the back 13 trailing the receiver trying to catch up. Like Slim is getting dogged out that joint. And I'm rooting for him. I think he'll get better. I didn't like the pick when it happened, but I'm still rooting for him, and I pray that it works out. But he is getting burned up out that thing, dog. Let's not sugarcoat it. Every time we look up, the ball on the left side in the air, Slim for Diver ate him up and went for like 70.
Bro, yeah, one catch, bro.
Oh, Slim be getting burnt up, bro.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, bro. What I'm saying is, like, cause Montel, you know, I know you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I love you, bro. You've been around for like 20 years. It feels like. I'm gonna tell you this right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? You do this thing. There's nothing wrong with it sometimes, but like you telling the truth. You telling the truth, but then you add in like a little size game to it. You know what I'm saying? and it's just it's funny. It is what it is. But dude, last week the Broncos game, you absolutely right. Forbes got beat for what, that 60-yarder, right? But dude only had 2 catches on the day, and one of those was on Forbes. And
but
to your point,
did somebody else catch a pass on him?
That game I don't remember. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, we gotta go back and watch the tape because I feel like
I don't remember.
else did.
But I ain't
somebody against the Bills burnt them up. I feel like somebody against Arizona burnt them up.
So look though, I actually broke down the.
I felt like when he was in college, he got burnt up. I feel like when he was in his mother's womb, somebody was burning him up.
Hey, but look though, bro, the Bills game, I actually broke that down. He got so he gave up a 30-yarder to Diggs, but it wasn't off the. Come on,
bro. He getting burned up every week, bro. You can't.
It wasn't off the initial coverage, bro. I ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. I ain't trying to hear it. It was scramble drill, like scramble drill or some shit where you just got caught bullshitting.
Bro, you getting burned up.
But Montel, you gotta remember.
That don't mean he's not good. He just getting burnt up right now, bro. Stephon Diggs, you get burnt up. Trayvon Diggs, you get burnt up too.
You got to remember why this team drafted him. Like I personally was a Christian Gonzalez fan, so when he was sitting there, I'm like, oh, you take Gonzalez. But obviously, something is wrong with this team and how they pick players and how they go about it. Because not only did they not only did they take Forbes, but they took Quan Martin, who still has not played a defensive.
He got hurt again today.
But he came back. But he only was on. He was the gunner.
He came back.
Like so it's like they literally took this man to help them with their poor ass defensive scheme that doesn't create turnovers. That's the only reason why they took Emmanuel Forbes, because it's not being schemed up. He's not being put in different positions to make plays. It's like, oh, we just hope that whatever he did in college just translates to the NFL, and that's it. We're not gonna put him in the best position to win these opportunities. We just hope that he interjects into our defense and we start getting turnovers, because nobody else is making plays. Cam Curl ain't making no plays. Defoe ain't making no plays.
All right, hold on. Actually,
Fuller is balling, but nobody else is making plays.
I got one question in regards to Forbes and the secondary overall. And anybody can answer. I ain't trying to take up too much time, but like you said, he's a first round pick, and I know a lot of people, especially as it pertains to Sam, they like to say draft status doesn't matter. Emmanuel Forbes was a first round pick. He came in here to make an immediate impact. That's why you draft guys in the first round. Do you feel like the secondary is better or worse this year with Emmanuel Forbes back there? Just be honest.
You said is what better? You said the secondary?
Is the secondary better or worse this year with Emmanuel Forbes back there?
I think it's exactly the same. It's just that you now know you have a guy that's a ball hawk. It's exactly the same because it's the same scheme. And that's the issue with Jack Del Rio. At some point, you need to evolve as a play caller, as a game planner. It needs to evolve. And there's no evolving of it. It's the same old shit. That's why it's easy for teams to go against them offensively, because they already know what it is. We've been seeing them just try to get home with for 4 years. For 4 years, we've been seeing the same thing. Like, we seen them take Quan Martin to be a nickel corner, but then force Ben back into the slot position. So now Forbes is playing outside. Even last week, I looked at the numbers. Forbes only played 40% of the snaps defensively. What's going on? What's going on with that?
Stacey? What's up, bro? Who hurt you, bro? I just want to talk. Nigga say we losing credibility. Who is you, brother? Who the hell is you?
Man, then go ahead and hit that big old X button and tap your ass out.
Hey, you ain't gotta do that. Hey, we losing credibility. The hell wrong with you, bro?
Matter of fact, bring your ass up on here. We said we was gonna open the floor. Bring your ass up on here.
Hey, so you want Yale? Go ahead.
Top it up with us. Top it up with us.
I ain't gonna lie though, Montel. To your point though, I mean, not to your point, to your question and AJ's point. I think it's the same, but I also think even if we want to like dive into like the bigger issue or question mark, right? Like when we talk about missed opportunities, and just like the instances where, for example, Washington's defense had moments where they could have even made bigger plays in the backfield against Jalen Hurts and they missed out on those, or obviously, the coverage part is so funny because people have all these answers right now. But I don't speak on me personally. It's hard for me to even like speak in absolutes without watching like any type of tape, because it's hard to see like what they were doing on the back end. I know for a fact when AJ Brown caught that first pass along the sideline with on what looked like Emmanuel Forbes trailing, I know for a fact that was zone coverage. So I could assume that was covered too. And when you do stuff like that, like for those who were geeking up with Sam Howell when he hit the honey hole on John Bates, right? And that against the Denver Broncos on the sideline for like 30 yards, I can only imagine if this was covered too, guess what? It had to be a perfect pass. Like, and those are, anyway, besides the point, opportunities. Like when you think about things like this, Washington had opportunities to make plays on Jalen Hurts in the backfield, but then from a coverage standpoint, or even linebackers, like even with the fumble, like they thought the play was over, and dude, I forgot who the running back was that fumbled, or Kenneth Gainwell, he fumbled, and we're over here celebrating the stop, and they ain't even like the play not even over yet. It's four commanders around the ball, and the lineman gets the recovery. So I think there's so many things when you look at like how this defense is, like missed opportunities from your secondary not being able to capitalize on bad throws, and that's just not even this game. I'm talking about Buffalo with Cam Curl dropping an interception that went right through his hands, or not even dropping it. It just went through his hands, literally. There was other instances. Derek Forrest had a couple plays that he could have made against Denver. He drops an interception. So like I think with Forbes and even the one opportunity that Forbes really makes, like he made a play to get that interception against Denver. Like he's the one person who's going to do that. Or excuse me, rewind. Kendall Fuller's going to do it too. I gotta give him his credit. I know I don't.
You mean
really
the
like
one he dropped that they gave him?
Who talking about?
He said Forbes dropped the bet.
He caught that. What you talking about, bro?
Montel is on one today, bro.
I'm real, bro. I'm real.
He didn't drop the pass, bro. He caught the pass. Bro. He dropped it. He fumbled the ball trying to get up and score, man.
And this is it, because I really want to hear from Drake. I really do. I want to hear from Drake. But if I'm being 100% honest,
you know what's even funnier?
Your first round pick, and y'all answered the question for me. Where I didn't have to say anything. When you come in, the secondary is supposed to get better, and they didn't. So that's the answer right there.
Ron Rivera.
But I think hold on. To that point though, like Montel, if you're asking about the secondary, I think we're painting the picture. Like, what was Emmanuel Forbes supposed to do if Benjamin St-Juste, if Kendall Fuller, Derek Forrest, they aren't making plays on the football?
All those guys look good.
What are they supposed to do?
Although St-Juste is looking good this year.
You're not understanding.
I see what you're saying. No, the secondary is a collective unit. The secondary is a collective unit. I understand ball, Mo. I played in the secondary before. The secondary is a collective unit. You have a weak link at corner. It's a reason. A team doesn't come in and say we're going to target a guy today if he's a strength. It doesn't happen. You can't.
They're going to test. They're going to test the rookie though. Why would they not test him?
If you're a nice rookie, you think they're going to target you?
They do all the time with what's the dude in New York,
bro.
When he was a rookie, they threw his way and he shut that shit down.
He shut it down. What is your boy doing?
Yes. Hey, what did I say? What did I say 20 minutes ago? All I said, this is my last topic, so we can get to the bigger thing. My whole, and it's crazy because I'm over here talking about missed opportunities in the secondary. My point is, like, if your other people ain't making plays in the secondary, like it's gonna be a bigger problem to what AJ's saying. Like, there's nobody making plays out there, and that's true. But it's true because the unit is not making plays. And the one opportunity that one person made a play this year, it was Emmanuel Forbes making a play coming off of coverage. Coming off of the bail coverage to attack a football. And I'm saying that's the one person who showed that he can make something happen because he wasn't even supposed to do that. All he did was read everything. He read the splits. He knew his depth. He knew what the receiver was supposed to do. And he made a play where the receiver fucked up. And what I'm saying is when you have people who cannot make plays in that secondary, bro, it don't matter how good Emmanuel Forbes is at supposedly making plays at the catch point. It doesn't matter. Like, they're going to try and target him. Philadelphia did today. But at the end of the day, they're not going to target Emmanuel Forbes every single play. They can throw it Cam Curl's way because they know if it's a decent pass or even if it is a contested pass, Cam Curl ain't gonna make the pick. Like, there's so many other factors that you got to look into, bro. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the same, bro. But we thought they would have been drastically better as a unit, but it's literally the same. But even funnier, the same as last year. They was a good secondary. They're not a terrible secondary.
They're not incrementally better this year, bro. They're not. And I'm agreeing with you. It's a unit effort. Nobody's making plays, but I don't feel like there was a weak link to this magnitude last year. And again, I'm not.
I mean, you had fucking Richard Wildgoose playing
and Bobby McCain.
But there was a weak link. But they weren't getting picked on. They weren't giving up a big play 3 weeks in a row.
Bro, they also weren't making plays. They weren't making plays. That is the problem.
That's not what I'm. I think y'all missing the point, bro. I think y'all missing the point.
I understand exactly where you're coming from. Your expectation is at a certain level because you feel like if you're going to use your first round pick to acquire a cornerback, they should make the defense incredibly better than what it was last year, right?
Even if it's a marginal difference, your first round pick. When the Cowboys drafted Michael Parsons, they had no pass rush. Guess what? They have a pass rush.
Like, all right. So what about Diggs? Wasn't Diggs the first round pick?
Hold on, Maul. Even when Dallas drafted Parsons, he was supposed to be an off-ball linebacker. If DeMarcus Lawrence does not get hurt before going into the regular season, Parsons never gets moved to pass rush at all.
If Bus was candies and nuts, bro, he's an impact player, bro. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to pick on Forbes, bro.
Hold on. What I'm getting to is all based on coaching and scheme. If he's in a different scheme and with a better defensive coordinator, you probably see a better defense. This defense is not played downhill at all. Like we can watch it later on tonight. Just even though the Jets have a shitty ass quarterback as Zach Wilson that they have to play, just look how the Jets are going to play the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. They don't have a downhill type of defense.
When your first round pick is giving up a big play,
hey, last thoughts too. Montel, you got the floor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's giving up a big play 3 games in a row, dog. That's not okay. And I'm not giving up on him. I'm not trying to bash him. He's giving up a big play 3 games in a row.
Wait, where's my notes at? I had something in here. Where was the question? Second half, bro. Was that a fumble when Deron Payne hit Hurts' arm? I thought the ball shook free before he even went forward with the ball. Before Hurts threw it.
I thought it was a fumble.
I don't know what to think about this officiating today. Like I felt like it was shaky on both sides. Like I thought that they called some DPIs on Philadelphia that was complete, just dead wrong. I thought that they called something on us. I think we were on who was it over the middle? I don't remember. They called a DPI on somebody. Oh, that was Kendall Fuller. They called a DPI on Kendall Fuller down the field. It was a spot foul, and I'm like, I didn't see anything that hurt Kendall Fuller, or even anything that would even get warranted a holding. Other things that they missed. There was a controversy with the last little QB sneak that they do, where the left guard went off sides, or he false started before the snap got there. Like, I don't know, but I thought that was, and the reason why I bring it up because that was a big moment where, like, if it is a fumble, obviously Washington recovered, but also they're not kicking a field goal, and they're in a situation where Washington's in a situation where you get the ball back and you stop them, and have this opportunity to either take the lead or extend it. I don't remember what it was, but Philadelphia ends up kicking the field goal off of that incompletion ruling. Do we have any thoughts on like the officiating at all?
I feel like we haven't heard Dre in a minute. So Dre, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted Dre to take on the last.
Dre, did you? I'm about to say, get your piece too, bro. My bad.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I swear, I realized that. Now that we talking, I realized
that's all right.
We
moving on because we spent too much on the defense. But no, I mean the officiating. I mean, honestly, I don't really get too much into it unless it's something egregious. I mean, I did think there were a couple of times where they could have went one way or the other way on both sides. I mean, I did think that one pass interference call they called on Kendall Fuller was pretty ridiculous. I thought at the least it was, illegal contact. But then it was a play I remember against us. I can't remember, but I was like, oh, we might have got a little away with that one. But either way, I didn't feel like, one way or the other, the officiating, directed this game, or other than the Terry call was bang bang. Now I felt like if you called that a reception in play, you wouldn't have been able to overturn it, just because it was so hard to see where that toe stood, that the evidence just wasn't there. But again, I thought if you called that on the field, you wouldn't have been able to overturn it, just like if you said it wasn't a reception, you couldn't overturn it. But again, I didn't think that the officiating cost us the game or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't want to turn it that way. I just thought it was just weird because like we could have had like if some of these calls were a little bit more accurate, who knows what favorite would have been in. I just know that Washington would have had some opportunities that probably could have benefited them.
I mean, I think it's hard for any Washington fan to complain necessarily about like the officiating. Like the officiating today gave them so many breaks to continue drives, whether it be multiple PIs or the different calls, illegal contact. Like the officials kept the game going for real. Like, because there was a couple third downs where they didn't complete anything, and those calls helped to keep them in the game and put them in position to even be in overtime. So I don't really pay too much of attention to it. It wasn't egregious. I did feel like the Terry McLaurin catch was in. I'm kind of confused. Like whether you see his toe or not, his foot landed on a player who was still in bounds. That should count as in. But at the end of the day, I don't know, man. Maybe the rules the competition committee be changing stuff every year, so I really don't even know at this point. I guess we'll probably get a breakdown later on tonight or tomorrow, but I ain't really have no complaint necessarily with the officiating.
Kelly has a solid question. I think it's fair. But I mean, obviously, for those that's listening, Kelly asked, what is the deal with Dotson? And he isn't freaking out like he was supposed to. Obviously, that was the expectation. And it is a little weird to kind of see one thing in particular, the amount of targets he is getting versus the receptions that he's getting. I think right now, where can I look at his stats? 16 targets, just 16 targets over 3 games. Today he got targeted 9 times and only had 4 catches. So like the catch percentage and all those things, like that's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, he had 1 drop as well. They had a game winner. Game tying drive, touchdown, which was actually, if you look at it, it was a really good route. And just a really good ball as well to get that separation. I don't know what's going on with Jahan. I don't think it's a him problem. 100%. I do think that there's instances where you see where he struggles in man coverage is more so like that physical, like bump and run nature. That's something that he's going to continuously have to work on as he gets older in this league and get a little bit more experience. He's a shifty guy, but if you get cornerbacks who's going to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of their coverage, their man coverage, then you're probably going to run into some issues with Jahan in that way, being able to get open. But yeah, I don't know. I won't close the book on anybody. No, I don't think anybody's closing the book on Jahan. It's just a little. He's going through some shit.
Yeah, I think Jahan is adapting to playing outside primarily a lot. That was one of my issues when they drafted him. I wasn't quite sure how he would handle press man coverage, things of that nature. I think that EB is also, we got to understand, this is a new offense. Like it takes some time for new offenses to gel and to better understand your players and what you want to do with them when it's live bullets out there. So I feel like he'll probably start leaning on him being in the slot a little bit more and not too much outside. I mean, there was one particular play where he was going against James Bradbury and they were trying to like fake like it was a wheel route or whatever. I just didn't really like his I didn't like his release. I didn't like his effort on that down at all because the ball was going to him, but he didn't sell the route at all. But I'm not really.
I think they said he was selling a screen.
It was like somebody was selling a screen or wheel, but Jahan was supposed to run the wheel, and that's where they threw the ball. But I think overall, man, I don't really have too much of a complaint as far as today offensively, man. I just think that, you know, they're doing the best of what they got at this point in period. So it is what it is. I'm impressed of how they didn't allow as many sacks. They made plays out there. They were aggressive in nature. You know, I didn't expect the game to be as close as it was, but overall, I can't really complain about the offense. But I will complain about Jack Del Rio. That's my main complaint. Like I need to see more out of this defense. I need to see them be more aggressive. I need them to be keying in on things a bit more. Like when Ben St. Juste knocked that ball out in that area, guys should be running to the ball. Like they should realize that even happened, and you didn't get none of that. Like that's what's maddening about this game for me.
Dotson, fellas, and then after that we can Montel, Dre, if y'all got thoughts on Dotson, then we can close out with our final thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've brought up, you know, for the first 3 games of the season. We wanted to see more of Dotson, at least, you know, try to get the ball more to him. And today was encouraging, even though it's another game where he barely cleared 20 yards. I still walk away from this game because the offense as a whole, you know, looked good. And receiver is just one of those positions that's dependent on a lot of things in the offense. I mean, it's not one of those things, but they can just go out and get it on their own. You know, the quarterback has to see him. The quarterback has to want to target him. The O-line has to give the quarterback time to throw. The offensive coordinator has to scheme up routes for him to get separation on. So, but today, so many encouraging things happen on offense. I feel like going forward, if Eric Bieniemy is hitting his stride and Sam Howell is hitting his stride, then in turn, Jahan Dotson is going to start having some of those games we've been expecting him to see. So, like I said, the first 3 games, yes, very disappointed. But like I said, not so much into Jahan himself, because I know he can't throw himself the ball. I mean, obviously, he got to make catches when it comes to him, like today. But again, if Sam Howell is hitting his stride and Eric is hitting his stride, I think soon we'll see more of the Dotson we expect to see.
I guess the question is, do we want to see guys have huge numbers, or do we just want them to make plays when their number is called? Because at the end of the day, Mual just said that he had 9 targets. I mean, how much more involved do you want a motherfucker to get when you got other people to feed the ball to? Then on top of that, he scored the game.
Dallas is whooping these boys' ass. Yeah,
he scored the game tying touchdown. So it's like, do we ask these questions for fantasy numbers or betting things, or do we just want to win and have guys still kind of be a little bit integral within the offensive scheme?
And I think
9 targets is a lot.
But that's the thing, though, AJ. I'm kind of like what you stated, the latter, bro. Like, I want to see everybody touching the rock, and this is like today's game plan was get it out quick, try to get everybody involved. If you're open, you'll get the ball. And I don't care about numbers. I want to see us win. I want to see us be efficient on offense. I don't give a damn if Jahan Dotson in the season with 16 catches. If we winning and the offense is moving the ball, that's kind of all I care about. And this is weird. It's funny. I don't even want to use that reference, but all I care about, get open. Get open, you'll get the rock, and Sammy gets you the ball. So I'm not tripping. I think that Dotson is a good receiver. He's a good weapon to have, but get open, get the rock.
Final thoughts on the game as we get up out of here. I guess I'll get started. I think, as we somewhat touched on, I think first of all, the offense is going to have to prove that they can do this on a week in and week out basis. Their biggest thing for them over the first 3 games, they got off to terrible starts in the sense of scoring points. Like they moved the ball here and there, but they aren't putting up points, right? And they're stalling on some drives with simple mistakes, whatever they may be. But then obviously sacks and bad decisions, or even from sometimes play calling, lack of involvement of Brian Robinson, particular. That's always been my gripe. At least when it comes to using your running backs. I think that like you get in your way sometimes. So I think this was a really good sign for Washington, but they're going to have to show it like on a week in and week out basis before I can say that this is a side of the ball that I can like lean on. They're going to have to show me something. And I think it's a good time against the Chicago Bears upcoming, who blew a 21-point lead to lose to the Broncos today. That you can really take advantage of a team who's struggling in so many facets of their team, and defense is being one of them, obviously. And defensively, my last thing for them, I think for Washington, man, it's all about really trying to. First off, the defensive line I thought actually was solid today. They could have been better in some instances, and the film was going to show that too. But I think from a unit standpoint, man, they're just going to have to find a way to be a little bit more cohesive in terms of their discipline. I think that's their main thing. I think that they did a solid game, or a solid job for the most part against on the ground. But at the same time, you gotta find a way to really gel and click from a rush standpoint. And also like your back end. I don't know. Again, I don't know what that coverage is going to look like once you look at the all 22 and see like how much things really broke down on the backside, or if it was just some incredible or unfortunate luck for Washington. I was going to say incredible luck for Philly, but unfortunate luck for Washington. We'll see. But for the most part, you're not going to see too many offenses as potent as Philadelphia. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me add to that last thing, because I want to just acknowledge, I have said and I think we've all said, there's no more excuses to be given out for this defensive side of football. So I think even with me saying as potent, I want to be clear, even with me saying as potent as Philly's offense is, Washington is coming to a year where you have so many developed guys on different levels of the football or different levels of that defense. So you really shouldn't be a team that's allowing so many points per game and getting your offense in situations where they have to respond or come back from behind in so many weeks. And it's happened in 4 weeks of the season. Obviously offense contributed to it, but still leads were given up.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively, I love how they came out. They got off to a fast start. I feel like they never really slowed down in that aspect. Eric Bieniemy did a great job of adjusting from last week against Buffalo, going against Philly, putting Sam in better opportunities and hitting home to him. If it's not there, be okay with trying to create or taking off and just gaining positive yards, not trying to play hero ball. I think a lot of times last week we seen Sam try to play hero ball. He moved the pocket a couple times with him. I really didn't have a issue with the offense overall, but when it comes to the defense, when you've been together essentially for 4 years, because pretty much it's been the same guys and the same things are still glaring. You're not making enough turnovers to change the game and to put the ball in the hands of your offense to go and get more points. They don't even look like they've been playing together that long. Like it's frustrating for me. I just want to see the defense be more aggressive, but that'll never change because at some point, I often say it, at some point you got to trust your eyes and people are just who they are. Like guys are who they are. Like, you know, we talked about this last year with Carson Wentz. A lot of people thought that he was going to change. Nah, he is who he is. You feel me? Like Jack Del Rio is who he is as a game planner, as a play caller. We just gonna have to live with it and hope that, you know, some of the opponents that they face don't have such a stout offensive line and that those guys get home, whether it be Payne, Allen, Sweat, or Young, and hopefully somebody along the way and make some plays on the ball as far as interception or creative fumbles. But aside from that, the defense needs to be better. And there's really not much you can really do at this point because if you fire Jack Del Rio, you might as well fire Ron Rivera. And this is year 4, so we'll just let it play out. I'm trying to think. Next on the schedule is Thursday. You got a short week against Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. Yeah, I don't really know who else is really that hard that I would say on the schedule coming up. But, you know, you got a short week against the Bears. You played 2 of the best teams on your schedule, and your defense has looked average, nowhere close to being great, nowhere close to being elite. Some people will say that it's the players. I beg to differ. I think it's the scheme. I think it's the approach and the game planning. Something that we haven't even touched on in this conversation, but it happened a lot last week, and we touched on it. Why are your pass rushers like a Sweat and Young dropping back in coverage? It's 3rd and 9, and you got Chase Young dropping back in coverage early in the game. For what reason? For what?
I mean, situationally, I get it. Like that's what DNs do, bro. Like even Nick Bosa, Von Miller, all them do it.
But you weren't even in a point situationally to even do that, bro. Like it just makes no sense. Like you just have to let these guys pin back and get after the quarterback. Like, but it happened.
To your point, though, I do agree with you. Like Deron Payne should have never been in coverage last week. Like that should have never happened. So
but Maul, even when I'm talking about on that 3rd down, the 3rd and 9, Chase dropped back in coverage. Then literally the next play, 1st down, Chase dropped back in coverage again. What are we doing? You dropped one of your best pass rushes in coverage back-to-back times. Like, what is happening? So, yeah, I mean, overall for me, it's like I knew that they were going to lose. It was a great game. Definitely kept us entertained. It wasn't a blowout. You just move on and you just realize, like, Washington is not there yet to compete with the elite teams on a consistent basis. That's pretty much where I leave off with last week and this week.
I mean, for my final thoughts, man, I just honestly, like I said, with what we talked about with the offense today, I hope that Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell built for this. Like this game should show Sam Howell, hey man, I think I could do this in this league, you know. And the good thing is, like I said, I don't want to, you know, get too far ahead of ourselves and start looking at the schedule and saying this is a win, because it's not that easy in this league, you know. But you have a couple of opportunities to kind of gain some momentum with the opponents coming up. I mean, Chicago Bears is struggling. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons at that, like I said, I don't want to look too far ahead, but I damn sure hope that they keep Desmond Ridder starting by the time we play them, you know, just to get this offense that's consistent momentum that we need to build to get Sam Howell going. Because, I mean, today showed that if this is what they are at their peak, they can play with anybody in this league. Now you need that defense that we kind of expected to be top 5 to start rising to the occasion. I mean, you played Buffalo and Philadelphia in the last 2 weeks. I mean, those are 2 of the toughest offensive teams you're going to go play. I mean, Buffalo, they just put up 48 points against the Dolphins today. So, I mean, these are, like I said, these are 2 of the best the NFL has to offer. I mean, you do want to see our defense win some of these matchups because of the personnel and the expectations you have for these guys. Now going forward, as we mentioned with the offense, with these games coming up, now this is a time for this defense to start to gain some momentum as well. I mean, you don't want to let Justin Fields go off on you. I mean, this is a game you should go out there. I mean, you held the Chicago Bears to 7 points last year, you know, so, you know, you still have the same defense. They have a couple of guys on offense, but I mean, they struggle. So you want to get this going now. You can kind of excuse a little bit, like I said, against Buffalo and Philadelphia, even though we're a little pissed off, you know, it's like, but hey, look who we're playing. But you're not going to get those same excuses against the Falcons, the Bears, and the Giants. So now this is the crunch time for the defense to really lock in and show us what we expect them to be.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it brief because I agree with everybody, but I'm going to steal from everybody. I kind of want to see it all come together because that's what the good teams do. The good teams aren't just good offensively. They aren't just good defensively. It all comes together. And if for some reason, like AJ mentioned this earlier in the show, and this has been dated back to when I was like 8, bro. One year our defense is good and the offense is garbage. One year the offense is good and the defense is garbage. And it's like, dog, can we just have a good defense and a good offense? Y'all both don't got to be top 5, but can y'all both just be collectively like top 12 or something? Like somewhere in the middle? Because that's what the good team did. Like Mual said, man, Dallas whipping their ass. And it's like, I ain't watching the game, but I'm like, every time I feel like I look up, Dallas whipping somebody's ass. They scoring on offense and they stopping them on defense, getting turnovers. That's what I want to see from my team.
All right. There it is, man. That's gonna wrap it up for us. It's very, very fun. I appreciate everybody that was in the chat, man, giving us hell on a 30-minute Forbes conversation. Stacey, man, keep coming back. I'm gonna talk my shit, same as you talk yours, bro. Appreciate you coming in and chopping it up. Everybody else as well. I see y'all, Jay Tyler, Magic, Monty, Kelly, Kenny, everybody, man. Peacecraft. Appreciate y'all checking in as well. The fellas will be back. Oh, we got this is gonna be a weird schedule. So I guess we'll talk off air to try to figure out what we're gonna do since the game is on Thursday. But stay tuned. I guess we'll try to figure this thing out since it's gonna be a quick turnaround. But we'll be back around, Montel. You know, you got the flow. I mean, you got the open door invite, man. So if you want to pop back up this week, tap in. You know what I'm saying? But that's gonna wrap it up for us. Appreciate everybody who tapped in. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff, man. We out here. Peace.